Welcome to episode number 11. If you're listening to the podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, there's some episodes, but I don't have them with numbers. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We're still under quarantine, waiting for things to be reopened. And you may be in the same situation right now. So if you have time, it's the best time to start to keep growing personally, spiritually, and maybe planning with ideas and just to getting better. You know, that's the idea of this podcast, that's the idea of these videos, is to help you to become better. So today I want to talk about how pride hides in goodness. If you're a leader, you know that you will face many challenges, that you're going to face many challenges, many difficult things. And if I will ask you what are those things, you probably will say people, culture, economy, maybe policies, red tapes, different things that you're going to face as a leader. But actually, that's not the most difficult thing you're going to face. Those things are external, the thing that you probably can work, and sometimes those going to be situational. It will happen or not. But there's something that always will happen, and it's internal, and that have to do with your pride. Those things are very difficult, don't get me wrong. Culture, people, the right processes, the right culture in a place can destroy a business if you have a bad culture. However, pride will destroy you as a leader. Leadership is very public. Leadership is public. People see you. You make decisions that affect others. You receive criticisms. Also, you receive high fives, and people love you and care for you, and people praise you and recognize you. And at the same time, that comes with a price. That can be very dangerous for a leader if you don't keep that in check, because pride is very silent. Hide on things like this: I have the right to do this because I already did that, because I already went through that. It hides in goodness, like I said. I deserve occasions because I need to do with my family. I already paid the price of this or that. It hides as a righteous complaint. That's not biblical. That's wrong, and that's not the best for everyone. I remember one time somebody complaining because we want to do a game, and for the game we're gonna use tortillas, and somebody's like, oh, but some people is dying hungry in the world. We shouldn't use tortillas, and that's like that, the pride. Well, that's just pride in people saying those kind of things. They're like, we're gonna use the tortillas in a wrong way. And I know it's a silly example, but it's so part of everybody, and it's just pride. Pride is very dangerous, and it's not enough that you think that you're a good husband, for example. You want people to know it, it's not good that you know that you do good things. You want people to know it. So what happened? We have Facebook, Instagram, and we want people to see those things. We want people to recognize those things. Pride tell the husband, for example, if the husband is helping out the house, whatever is the supporting their wife, they deserve something. They deserve to get lucky or something, and then nothing happened, and pride tell the husband that, nobody loves him, nobody recognizes what he does, everybody else recognizes it at work and everywhere else, but not at home. And then the husband think that he deserves that extra conversation, that support, and actually he started getting it from a co-worker, and because she understands, because she's listening to him, she know how he feels, blah, blah, blah. And then we have leaders that completely destroy their life, their family life, because they were not aware how pride works in our life. Pride is fast to find excuses. As soon as you find something that you did wrong, there's a reason why, because you cannot accept that you are really wrong. You say, yeah, it's true, I did this, but, and you tend to blame something or somebody. Pride tells you stories about your future. And you are okay manipulating things and doing things to get to that future. You're okay with lying or covering mistakes. It's just for the opportunity, right? You do whatever it takes to get there, and you may be compromising your conscience. You may be compromising what you believe, your principles, because the pride have been telling you a story about your future, that you deserve this or that, and that will eventually destroy you. And the pride is the most danger dangerous and difficult and more destructive thing that you will ever face. I just want to make that very clear. If you're thinking, I don't have a problem with pride, well, the answer is that you do have a problem with pride. If you, right away, when I start saying this, you become defensive, it's because you have a problem with pride. And it's hard to describe pride. Sometimes we see it with somebody who's arrogant, right? Somebody who is, out there and believe too much about themselves, and they talk about themselves, and they always want to talk. They always interrupt other people, and they tend to have excuses about that. It's just who they are. They're intense, and they're very disrespectful in many ways. But we tend to believe that that's an arrogant person. But pride tends to camouflage very well in goodness. And imagine a line that from few feet away, maybe 6 feet away, this line looks like one line. But when you get closer, it's actually two lines. See, pride works like way from a little bit far, look like the same thing of good, the same thing of righteous, it looks like a good Christian life, for example. But when you get closer, you can see this all is very close, but it's not the same. And actually, the destination of that line, of that path, is completely different. But again, from few feet away, look like the same. When you get closer, it doesn't look the same. So what is the idea on this? To be able to discover pride in your life, you have to get very close to yourself and start asking yourself questions to be able to distinguish the two lines. And constantly as leaders, we go in and out of these two lines. We do things and then we want recognition, but we do this and we want this thing to happen to us because we did this. Sometimes we do something good and we think we did it for the right reason, but the reality we did it just because we want recognition or we want to manipulate something. So pride hides under a goodness, and it's very difficult to identify. It's very difficult to see sometimes. It's painful even to discover that that's true, that this line is so close. These two lines, pride and real goodness, go so close together that if you don't get really close, you cannot see it. And some people, you hear people saying this, he's a good Christian, such a good Christian. I remember the story of somebody, we were driving home one day and this person is telling me the story of this guy who's such a good Christian, such a good father, and all these things. And then out of the blue, the story ended with telling me, but he killed himself. And that's, for example, a problem that we have. We're not capable to see these two lines, and we see the line from 6 feet away and we think it's just one, but the reality there's two. When we can be walking on the wrong line, and the destiny of that can be so bad as somebody being depressed and nobody knows, but because all these things that we do and we don't even know we have the problem, because so close to goodness, to what or you can call it so close to the good will of God for our life, that we're not able to see it. But when we were closer, we will know that, for example, that person probably was depressed and had many problems, many situations that this person ended up killing himself. So we have to be very, very, very careful, because pride hides in goodness. It looks like goodness, camouflage like good things, and we tend to believe those things. People tend to tell us those things and we tend to believe them. But when we were close, we see it's completely different line. It go very close because, again, try to hide, but it's very different. Let me share some points of attitude of a story from the Bible. From you hear the story all the time about the prodigal son, and we always talk about the son who actually left. And the story is about the father and how both children refused to honor the father and what he wants. But I want to focus on the older brother who actually stays, supposedly to honor the father. So let me share some attitude, and that you can find there. One of them is he does a good job, so people praise him as a good son. At least he did not leave, right? He was the one who stayed. He's the good son. Self-designated to the one suffering pain for failure of the other. The other one did this, so I have to pay the consequences. Self-pity, not enjoying the good by what is provided by the Father. Not enjoying life, the blessings, because, oh, what he did, I have to deal with this. Not happy for good things that happen to others. We see it clearly when the other brother come back, he's not happy. And everyone criticize you. You always see it that they don't really know, they don't understand. So all those attitudes that you find in that story, you can find it in ourselves. We can find it in what we do, the things, the way we think. And again, pride hides in goodness, and when we expect things in return. And we have this problem, but the situation is, what is the result? How we resolve this situation? We know that we have pride. The pride is the beginning of all the problems. The leadership, we're more exposed because the amount of exposure, people, is supporting us, always praising us for different things. Especially if you're a leader, they're very outspoken, and you're making decisions and you're doing good leadership. Probably people, support you, give you high fives, praise you, thank you all the time for what you do, and all that kind of stuff. So it's very easy to fall for this pride and not able to see it, because again, those two lines, the will of God or doing good, is so close to actually the line of pride. But again, both lines have totally different destinations. So in conclusion, we all struggle with pride. But the leader, because the amount of exposure is so public what we do, the pro is more exposed to be attacked, to suffer the consequences of pride. And like I said, pride can hide in goodness, and the only way to see it is to get very close to ourselves. So how we do this? Let me ask you these questions, and let me see if this happened to you. And these are just some few things that, if you thought this, is this ever crossed your mind? I just want to probably just make the case, because I'm pretty sure now that I'm talking about pride, some of you are thinking, well, my boss should listen to this, my friend should listen to that, this leader that I know should know better about pride because they're so prideful, they never correction. But the reality is, it's a lot about ourselves. So let's say I'm gonna read a couple sentences, and let me tell you if any of these one apply to you, and something similar too. So if it's not specific what you have thought, maybe something very similar. And some of you are going to think, oh, I will never think that. That's not true. You probably have done it. I'm going to just read it. I want my boss fired because I do all the work. I hope she will have a car accident in her new car. I like to hear great job. I like to hear praises. I manipulate things so I can be recognized. I want them to know how hard I work. And there again, we can go to many things. The problem is that all these things happen to us, it happen to our heads, happen in our heads, in our minds, and we will never say that we're like that, because culture is speaking, or just in the family context, we always being told that type of attitude is wrong. But we really experience it. We really feel them. And the problem is that because we know it's wrong, we don't recognize them. Because we know it's wrong, we never talk about it. We never say things like, I do all the work, he's just having a great time, and I do all the work and he's getting the pay. Things that we may think, but we never really act on it because we're not wrong. But imagine this, you're a leader and eventually you have the power to do some things about it. What will happen with you if you're still dealing with this and you're not aware of your pride? So what we can do? What we can do to fix the problem? And I want to propose something today that I really believe. I think the only solution to pride, this pride that hides in goodness, and expect something in return, and always we're doing something. We give our tithes so we can be blessed. We do good things to people, but we want everybody to know. We help we want to have a good family, so we're gonna put it on Facebook. We want to do all these things. We go to feed the poor, and we say, hashtag helping the poor, and we put it in different social media stuff. Or we do things as a leader, and we want recognition. We want people to know that it's our ideas. And like I said, leaders are more exposed to this because we're so public in so many ways. So I believe the only answer to the solution is to have a brutally honest relationship with God. If you're a leader and you want to become a great leader, if you're a leader and you want to keep advancing, you can have all the mentors you want, you can have you can read all the books in the world, but if you don't have especially if you're a Christian leader, you don't have a brutally honest relationship with God, to recognize your dark side, to recognize those things that you know that nobody else know, and verbalize it and ask for forgiveness from God, you will never be able to handle what is next. And see, pride is something that it hides, camouflage, is capable to trick us, and we think that we're doing the right thing, but we are acting out of pride. So the only solution is to have a brutally honest relationship with Christ. So when you have the thought, my boss, I do all the work and he doesn't do anything and he get the pay. I'm the one who's moving this and doing that and she get the credit. I want everybody to know what I'm doing. I want everybody to know that it was me, it was my idea. When you don't recognize that you have that problem, that we all do, and you're not bringing those to God and verbalizing those, you're not having a brutally honest relationship with God. So, let me ask you this. When was the last time that you actually shared those thoughts with God? When was the last time that you went to God and said, God, today I did all these things in my house and nobody recognized me the way I'm doing. My wife doesn't appreciate me. And God, people value me more at work than at my house. When was the last time that you actually talked with God about that? When was that last time that somebody bought a new car and you actually went to God and said, God, when I saw that person that I don't like got a new car, I felt jealous. Secretly, I wish they have a car accident or something, or the car breaks, Why then? Why they come out? Why they praise? That was my idea. When you have all those thoughts, are you bringing those to God? Or let me ask you this: the last time the people were saying good job, praising you, when was the last time that you went to God and you told Him, God, when they were talking about me and saying good things about me, that felt awesome. That felt awesome. Forgive me. All glory and honor to you. When was the last time that you did that? So the solution to that is to have a brutally honest relationship with God. You have to have a brutally honest relationship with God to recognize that dark side that you have in front of God and verbalize it and ask for forgiveness. The pride in the life of that leader is toxic, and like any toxic, you may be exposed and not even know it. It's like this coronavirus, where you can be exposed and carry it with you, and you don't even know it, and it's hard to see, and you have to keep it under. So that's why it's hard to see. So you got to keep it under, checking it out all the time. First of all, if you're a leader and right now this is bothering you, and you're not capable to say that you have a dark side, that you have a side that you don't want anybody to know. If you're thinking that right now, I don't have a dark side, I'm just good. Well, you're already contaminated. You have to do something about it, because we all have that dark side. It may look different than the examples I gave you, but we do have a dark side, and we have to recognize it. The only solution for a leader to don't be a slave and end up really bad because pride is to have a brutally honest relationship with God, so we can confess those things and He can heal us and keep transforming us and helping us to be better leaders. But you start asking yourself in those prayer with God, that time that you spend with God, I hope you do, and if you're not a Christian, the reality is that you will be consumed by pride, and we see it with all type of leaders, politicians, and all that stuff all the time. But if you're a Christian, you have the opportunity to find in God release and help in this. And don't deceive yourself thinking that you're not gonna struggle with this. You will struggle with this, and the only solution is to have a brutally honest relationship with God and start examining those motivations, the things that come to your head when things happen. Why I wasn't recognized? Why that person got promoted? Why not me? Why not me? Why not me? Why they get this? I did more. Why I shouldn't be getting that? And all the things that go to our head, to recognize it before God and not let them pass thinking that it's natural, thinking that's who we are. That's not who we are. Pride is a toxic thing in the life of the leader, and you have to be completely aware, because always is out there. And again, hides and camouflage under goodness and camouflage like good things, and you don't want to have it. But the only solution is to have a brutally honest relationship with God, confessing the thoughts and those ideas that come to your head, the thing that bother you, the thing that say, oh, I'm just frustrated. Well, frustration is just another way of anger. And you have anger against somebody. I wonder, is that sinful? Probably. So you have to take those to God and say, God, today I was frustrated because this person said this about me and blah, 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 and I'm the leader and I feel that was disrespectful, but I don't know why I feel disrespectful, just because I think I have a title and they should respect me. And if you feel that way, you should verbalize that and tell God how you feel, and He can heal you out of that. If you feel jealous because, for example, somebody else got a promotion and all that stuff, again, all those things, you have to confess them, and talk with God about it. Again, if you're a leader and you think you don't have a dark side, if you don't struggle with pride and how pride hides in goodness, you are walking on that line that is very close to the will of God or the line of goodness, but you go actually, your destination is completely different. If you get closer and you start examining your dark side, you will see that you struggle with that, as I struggle with that, and we all have to confess it and verbalize it to God in a brutally honest relationship with God. I know it's hard, and even when we pray, what is ridiculous sometimes, especially for us Christians or Christian leaders, is when we pray, we don't want to say it. And the reality is that we should say it because God already knows, not hard, but you know the freedom you're going to find when you recognize that you're one that loves to be receive credit. You're one who want to this or that. And again, pride looks different for a lot of different people and may bring different things to your life. But the main thing is to be aware of your darkness and develop a brutally honest relationship with Christ. Just say it as it is. Today, I was dreaming, I was daydreaming that my boss will be fired because he's annoying, because this or that. God, forgive me. Today I was daydreaming with having an affair with such a person because my wife doesn't listen to me, doesn't care for me, etc., etc. You have to be honest, brutally honest with God, and He will heal you and protect you from yourself, from that pride. Because pride is toxic and it will destroy you. We all heard the story. Great people, great leaders, amazing accomplishment. They completely destroy their life, and you always can track that all the way to pride. And that didn't start it on the biggest problem they faced. They started earlier in different things. Different things they didn't say, the things they hide, things they manipulate, little things that they keep for themselves, stuff like that. And eventually, when we hear in the news about it, it's because the toxins got into their life and never was under control. And let me tell you, to some extent, we all have those toxins in ourselves already, that dark side, and we have to put it in check all the time. And the only way to keep it on check is to develop a brutally honest relationship with God. You need to develop a brutally honest relationship with God and keep that, He will help you to see it, those lines so close that you will be able to say when you do something good, that you did it for the wrong reasons. Even if somebody benefit, you will be able to recognize that and tell God how you feel and tell God how that made you feel, and start keeping in check that dark side that we all have. We all have it. If you right now thinking you don't have it, you're the one in most dangerous. You know you have it. We all experience it. So please be careful. So if you want to be a great leader, you have to recognize the pride hides in goodness and the goodness that we can do. And we have to be aware of it. Camouflage, it comes to our life in different ways. And the only solution to be able to identify it, because sometimes it gets so close to the will of God, so close to goodness, the only way to recognize it and address it is to have a brutally honest relationship with Christ. Well, I hope this podcast today or this video helped you. And if you like it, please keep subscribing and share it on social media. I would love to see people sharing this as much as possible. Again, we're here to keep chasing growth together so we can become better. Thank you very much. Have a great day.